Hey everybody, welcome back. In this video, I want to compare the Entity Framework and the Edu.NET technology for creating the database applications. Then you can easily and freely choose the best option for creating your database applications. So let's start. As I told you, if we want to create the database applications, we have two options. The first one is Edu.NET and the next one is Entity Framework. For better understanding, let's take a quick look at our paperless Office software Camisho. The first step for creating the database application is designing the form and the main GUI and other parts. So for designing the interface of the application, the Edu.NET or the Entity Framework hasn't any differences. We can work with both of them. But after designing the interface of the application, it's time to connect to the database. So we have two options, and in this step there is many differences between the Edu.NET and the Entity Framework. So let's close this one, come over here. In this diagram you can see the Edu.NET technology structure, and as I told you, the Edu.NET directly work with the database and the application, but the Entity Framework is a layer at the top of Edu.NET to automate most common functions and operations of creating the database applications. So the Edu.NET technology is too complex for learning and using. It needs to learn many things if you want to work with the Edu.NET technology. It needs to work with database directly without any other objects. As the result, creating the application with the Edu.NET is too time consuming. But all of these are the weakness of the Edu.NET, and creating the application with the Edu.NET has many other benefits. The first one is it is high speed, and if we create the application, the speed of our applications will be too high. And the next one is in the Edu.NET we have the full control over database and application, so we can create more complicated application using the Edu.NET technology. And the next one is Entity Framework. It is easy to learn and use because most of the operations and tasks for creating the database application and communicating with the database will be automatically done by the Entity Framework, and it is a layer at the top of Edu.NET. So we don't need to directly work with the database. Instead of that, we can easily focus on the production instead of the database and how we can deal with the database and its problems. As the result, we can quickly create the applications and quickly can change the structure of my applications. The Entity Framework will work with the models instead of the table and the database and the Edu.NET technology. All of these are the benefits of the Entity Framework, but the Entity Framework has its own weaknesses, and the most important one is low speed in compare with the Edu.NET applications. Why the applications of the Entity Framework are slower than the Edu.NET applications? Because as I told you, the Entity Framework is a layer at the top of Edu.NET for automating the most common tasks of the programmers, and many common tasks of the programmers will be done automatically by the Entity Framework, and it's completely obvious automating the common tasks will reduce the speed of the applications. But I have the good news, and the good news is that the speed of the applications of the Entity Framework aren't too slow than the applications of the Edu.NET, and we can easily ignore it. Okay, I talked a lot. Now we know more about the Edu.NET technology and the Entity Framework. Now the question is, which one is better for me? To be honest, if you want more control and more power for creating the database applications, the Edu.NET technology is great for you, but it needs a lot of time for learning, creating, and publishing the applications on it. And if you want to work with the most updated technology and easily learn and create the applications quickly with the minimum time and effort, so the Entity Framework is great for you. The main intention of this course is not talking about the Edu.NET technology, and if you want to learn the Edu.NET technology, I have all the courses that you can easily get them and start learning the Edu.NET. And if you want to learn the entity framework for creating the professional and amazing applications, stay with me during the tutorials of this course. So with the entity framework, we can easily jump into the wonderland of the database applications, and it's really great and amazing chance for all of us for working with the entity framework. Don't hesitate to join me. I'm waiting for you.